Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you enjoyed your holidays. Happy New Year, everyone. So 2020 is starting off strong here with our big Street Fighter V update. I'm going to start tackling some of the patch notes now for these characters in more in-depth. I already uploaded the big, stream archive of us going through all the notes on day one, but that's hours and hours long. Now we know a lot more. A lot of people have been posting tech, understanding the patch notes in more detail, and we'll start going through that just to spread the information. But first, in this video, we're going to discuss the general universal notes that we're seeing, because it kind of shows us the direction that Capcom wants to go with Street Fighter V and in the meta. And in previous seasons, we've seen a lot of that. We've seen some focusing on reducing the crush counter scaling, or the reward of dashing forward after a crush counter, V-trigger cancel scaling, and like robbery V-triggers in general, and also a lot of the throw loops being removed from the game as well. So with the next season, we got some different things, which were pretty surprising that I didn't expect. And also the obvious thing is that they added the second V-skill too for every character. We're seeing some characters where they have the perfect balance where they use different V-skills for different matchups, and then we kind of have the little imbalance where some V-skill 2s were just outright better and they're using it for every matchup, and then of course there's some V-skill 2s that kind of suck and they're just sticking to what they know with V-skill 1. Well, we're releasing videos comparing the V-skills for you guys for a lot of different characters to help give you guys some more clarity on which V-skills you should be using for which different matches in the future. So, let's get this video started here. Let's talk about some of the universal changes for Season 5. The first and biggest one, I think, is the health and stun adjustments across the board have been raised for almost all the characters. If your character didn't get a health buff or a stun buff, then that's most likely considered a nerf because of the majority of characters that got it. This is, like I said, a really weird one. Capcom has been adjusting and lowering health a lot through the seasons, but this time it's literally just you get it or you don't. This is probably Capcom trying to lower another way of lowering the robbery factor, because like I said, we've got an additional skill in the crush counters and V-trigger cancels. Now this is another way of tackling it, rather than just like lowering damage for a lot of the characters. Instead, let's just raise everybody's health. This also increases the chances of players being able to use their V-triggers and also use their V-triggers with 2 bars twice a round before they die, even though V-trigger does scale with your health. If you include the guts where you take reduced damage, the lower health you get, then there's going to be, I feel, a lot more amazing comebacks this year for 2020, because there's a lot of mix-ups that were basically touch of death, where if you guess wrong once, you end up dizzy, and then you have low enough health where you end up dying to that and getting KO'd. So this is being basically reduced because of that. There's a lot of factors when you change health, especially, like I said, on the characters, which I'm going to discuss that didn't get changed. So right now, I'll just give you guys a little preview of that. The highest health and stun character in the game right now is easily Abigail. He has 1100 health, back to 1100 health. This is insane because, Capcom, they I want to talk more in depth about Abigail because, they're like, well, maybe we went too far with Abigail, but now he's back, and now he has the highest health in the game at 1100, just absolutely massive amount of health. And he used to have, they nerfed his stun, so it was down to 1000 stun, but then they brought it back to 1050 again. And that was one of Abigail's biggest weaknesses, that he stuns normally like any other character, but now he's just an absolute tank now. Zangief, second highest health at 1075, and Zangief actually has the highest stun in the game, more than Abigail. He has 1100 stun, so stunning Zangief will be a rare moment, and it used to be 1050, so Abigail and Zangief are a tier above everybody else in terms of health and stun. And then we have the big boys, Honda, Birdie, and Alex. They have 1050 health and 1075 stun, except for Birdie, who has 1000 stun. So Birdie, I would say that's pretty bad, considering that all these characters got these more health. But Birdie, like I said, having 1000 stun is very dangerous, because even though you have so much HP, when you get stunned, you're gonna take a lot of bonus damage anyway. So yeah, Birdie got the short end of the stick there. But like I said, the fact that a lot of these grapplers gained more health and a lot of the top tiers seem to not, I think is pretty interesting in general. So I'd like to see, it's almost like you're never out kind of thing, because you just have so much, especially Abigail and Zangief, you have just so much room to work with to make that comeback, because both characters can do some explosive damage, especially Abigail. Now for lowest health and stun, Finally, Akuma. Back to the character archetype. Akuma has 900 health and 900 stun. Both of these stats are original. There is no character in the game that has 900 health or lower, and no character in the game that has 900 stun or lower. So Akuma is officially the lowest health and stun character in the game. This is a pretty big nerf for Akuma in general, but it does suit the character since Akuma has the largest toolkit of every character, and he's supposed to be this very strong, delicate character. That's always how he used to be, and I like that they ended up going back to Akuma with this. But you know, if you're an Akuma player, that is a straight up nerf. That's just how it is, man. Second lowest health characters are Kage and Kami at 925. Kami also has the second lowest stun at 925, whereas Kage has 950 stun. So Kami is also a very delicate character who could be stunned and of course die because she has such low health in general. And then we have characters after that at 950 health. These are Dalsum, who actually got a buff in health, Rashid, Manat, Mika, and Ibuki. All these characters have 950 health. Ibuki used to be really strong because she had 950 health compared to a lot of the high toolkit characters, and it seemed like a lot of. But now, with all these characters getting a health buff, Ibuki is considered a nerf at this point. So these characters are all pretty delicate now when you look at it, especially when you have characters running around with like 1050, 1025 health now, especially like the Shotos, like Ryu and Ken, for example, and Sagat. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this health change in general in Street Fighter V. I wonder if Capcom will think about this more in the future when they start to make Street Fighter 6. Okay, next universal change here. We have, so there's been a lot of notes here on this chaining attacks, option select basically being removed, where you're unable to cancel into a throw. From what I understand, there's you're inputting throw, but the chain overrides your input, and therefore any time where the chain doesn't work, you'll go into a throw. I think this is mostly used to beat V reversals with an option select, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, it's another option select being removed that was being abused. Next change, overheads. So a lot of the punishable overheads in the game were around -6. They've normalized it, so every single overhead that's punishable is -7. This is due to a lot of characters being able to space the overheads quite well, and even though there's something as big as -6, a lot of the medium normals were either not fast enough or they just didn't reach. Now at -7, that's pretty universal that many characters will be able to punish it harder without having to use a light and using their medium attacks. So this allowing players who read the overheads better, a better punish overall, because you should be taking a risk with the overhead, especially if you're closing the round with it. Also, another thing they changed with overheads is there was a lot of overheads that were visually in the air, but you'll get thrown out of it. So Jury is a perfect example of this. And they made it so that the overheads are now throw invincible on these certain characters, but they're considered grounded on hit. So that means that if you do hit a character like Jury that you see is airborne, she actually gets hit on the ground. Now you get a full punish. She doesn't flip out, but you don't get thrown. So it's a buff and a nerf. Visually, it makes more sense, I think, in general. And like I said, if you're able to react to someone doing overhead and you hit them and interrupt them, they don't get away scot-free by getting knocked out of the air, basically. Alright, next universal change here is adding hit confirmable normals in the game. So a lot of characters got the Kadeen treatment, so to speak. So you know how Kadeen is able to basically hit confirm her crouching medium kick and you convert into a special into a lot of damage. They basically made it so that a lot of the characters' normals are able to do this, and it's really interesting because Capcom likes the idea of better players to be able to visually confirm single hit normals into specials rather than just buffering and throwing them out in mid-air. Characters such as Chun-Li gets one now with her crouching medium kick, Kage gets one, Nash gets one with the standing medium punch, and Ed gets one with his crouching medium kick. There's definitely more, but I think this will definitely be a thing in the future, man. Especially I think for Street Fighter 6, that might be their way of adding the skill gap to the game without going a little too crazy. But it's something else for pro players to enjoy, taking advantage of, and something to practice. And I think that's a really good direction for the game in general to have hit confirmable normals. I mean, Street Fighter V was always supposed to be this neutral, focused game, and then I think that's a step in the right direction without making it too cheap, like crush counters, for example, where the reward is too huge and too easy to confirm. So adding hit confirmable normals is nice. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Next universal change is EX meter gained on block supers. So this is a very simple change. They just made it so that when you do a super on the opponent and they block it, they will gain a bunch of meter for it. So I think it's like 50 meters. So I mean, it's just a way to make it so that if you block a super, it's highly likely the opponent will super you back. You'll get punished more. They just don't want to make people do supers and then get away with the opponent not getting anything except for a little chip damage. And another, this is kind of a universal change slightly. It's basically the easy one-button anti-air normals, like Mika, her crouching medium punch, Birdie's crouching medium punch, and G's crouching heavy punch. They have these wide pizza cutter-like hitboxes where they'll hit the opponent even if they jump behind them as they're swinging. So it's just such an easy one-button anti-air in every situation. They nerfed all of those so that you can technically jump over and cross them up and bump them over the head. There are some characters that didn't get affected like this, like Blanca, for example. His crouching medium punch anti-air is still insane and clearly hits behind him. But I think that looking at the characters that did get nerfed, I think Capcom's focusing on characters that all have command grabs. Mika, Birdie, and G all have command grabs. I think this is especially opponent when characters with command grabs walk you down to the corner and the opponent is in the corner, and then even though you get the right read on the jump, you get anti-air anyways. I think it's just really powerful for grappling characters, and I think yeah, if the grappling player gets you in the corner and he wants to make a read that he's going to come grab you and you jump, he shouldn't be able to also cover the anti-air as well. So they would have to use their normal throw instead. So I think Capcom's been focusing on this a little, but it seems to be mostly the command grab characters that got affected by this. So jump away, guys. Jump away. Jump in his footsies. And yeah, no more really, I haven't seen really any V-trigger nerfs or crush counter nerfs. In fact, I've seen some crush counter buffs with some characters like Nikali, for example, and Cody. So that's interesting. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the general patch notes that I'm seeing across most of the characters here. Like I said, let me know in the comments below which character you guys like me to cover for the patch notes and more in depth. We'll open up some game footage here, and I'll show you guys some of the things that have changed. And we'll go throughout the season. We'll go at our pace. We got the whole 2020 ahead of us, guys, and the CPT still has a little bit to start here, and we still have stuff coming out. So got a lot on my plate right now. So one step at a time, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts on the general changes and how Season 5 is shaping up for you so far. And I'll keep you guys posted. Take care, everyone.